And Dan, you could see the difference in their offense early.
Yeah, ball coming out on time, third down. Drew Brees with great timing. Then look at that, Michael Thomas, catch and turn. The ball placement, catch, turn, early touchdown for New Orleans.
So 7-0 Saints, but the Bears defense played well, and then the offense made this one perfect play with one exception.
Greeny, it's a great call. It's a great throw. Mims, get your hands together. Get your elbows together. You look like Ryan Clark trying to catch his football. Look like his elbow separated. You've got to catch it on the road in the playoffs. RC, get your guy right.
That is a devastating miss for a Chicago team that needed to make things happen. Then Mitch Trubisky on a fourth down runs out of bounds for reasons known only to him. But the Saints go into halftime up only 7-3. This is a game. Third quarter now, 3rd and 15 Chicago. Trubisky's going to throw an incomplete pass. That's not the important part of the play. Watch what happens after when Anthony Miller gets himself thrown out of this game. Dan, this was a day where the Bears did a lot of really dumb things.
Yeah, a lot of really bad penalties. You're going to see Anthony Miller retaliate there. We get told from a very early age, the second guy is always going to get caught. It happens again to the Bears.
And then Brees is going to make him pay. This is early in the third, and this is Michael Thomas again.
It's an incredible adjustment by Michael Thomas. It's a great throw by Drew up high, but Michael Thomas turning back. Greeny, this play is about not panicking with the football. Just a remarkable job of Latavius Murray getting up after blocking, but Drew knowing where he's going to be, not panicking, and just that quick little dump off.
That made it 14-3, and then in the fourth quarter, this one puts it away. Kamara for the touchdown. The Saints fans are saying, we want Brady, and that's who they will get next. You didn't see a lot of Bears offense in that highlight because, frankly, there wasn't a lot of it. The Saints, with the win, they move on, and so let's talk about it. And I guess we should start with the Saints. And Ryan Clark, I will come to you. Does that look like a Super Bowl team now that they have that offense back together the way they want? Are the Saints a Super Bowl team?
They are a Super Bowl team. Now, does that mean they finish the deal and get there? They still have some tough games to play starting this week with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And when you can play defense like that, where your leading sack rusher, Trey Hendrickson, is not playing, and you can still put pressure on Mitchell Trubisky. You play great on the back end. You stop the run, in which the Chicago Bears have been doing better toward the end of the season. That's the type of defense that gets you to the Super Bowl. That's the type of defense that wins playoff games. And then you look offensively, obviously having Alvin Kamara back on the field, having Michael Thomas on the field, Drew Brees being surgical in the underneath passing game, also hitting a couple of passes deeper down the field than Michael Thomas. You start to kind of feel good about where this team is. And so going into this week against a team you've already beaten twice, you have to think that if you're Sean Payton, if you're Drew Brees, you are telling your locker room you have exactly what it takes to make it to the Super Bowl, but you have to continue doing what you do best, which is play great defense, protect the ball offensively, and then get Alvin Kamara in space and give him opportunities to make big plays.
All right, so we will have all week to talk about the Saints. Dan, let's talk about the Bears, whose season came to an end yesterday. What is the first thing we say about them this morning?
It's time to move on. It's time to move on from Matt Nagy and Mitchell Trubisky, because yesterday was kind of the same thing that we've seen for 3 years. Championship-level defense. Defense that consistently shows up and good enough, and the offense just doesn't get it done. The fourth down that Mitchell Trubisky does not sell out for. I have no idea how he doesn't try and dive to go get that. The offensive line lacking in protection, not having a great plan versus the pass rush for New Orleans. Greedy, Hembo sent me some really interesting numbers, okay, with Matt Nagy. In the 3 years of him as their head coach, he's coached 50 games. They've scored 1 touchdown or less 18 times. That's bad. That's more than a third of the time they've scored a touchdown or less. The Jets, the Jags, and the Bengals are the only teams that have done it more. So yesterday was the final straw. Chicago, you got into the playoffs and made it a conversation, but you answered it yesterday. It's time to move on.
Rex?
Yeah, when I look at it, I think what they're going to do is move on from Mitchell Trubisky. But I'm with Dan. Look, I've never been a big fan of this Nagy guy. And quite honestly, it's because of the way he handled the Trubisky thing. He put everything on him. I mean, he's the guy they blame everything on. Well, why don't you look at yourself first, man? I mean, dude, you scored 3 points in this game. I mean, I know it's 9, but no, it was 3 points.
Right.
And quite honestly, you're an offensive guru. That's why you came here. And those stats that Himbo just put up and Dan talked about, that's not acceptable. And hey, you've gone to the playoffs, 2 out of the last 3 years. Congratulations. That's because the NFC is a hell of a lot weaker than the AFC. But when I look at this, you know, your guy at Northwestern, Chicago kid, that fits better because this guy that plays in Chicago. This guy, I mean, I don't like him. I don't like the way he doesn't take every damn bullet for him. That's your job as a head coach. You don't make your quarterback take every bullet. You take the dang bullets, and that's what I don't respect about this guy.
Look, he has been trying to move on from Mitch Trubisky a million different times in a million different ways, and if he stays, he's now going to get his chance to try and coach a third different quarterback. He was brought there to turn Trubisky into a star. Then he brought in Nick Foles, and we saw how that goes. And if he stays, it does seem like they're going to go a different direction. Pat Fitzgerald is the coach of Northwestern you're talking about. We'll see how all of that shakes out. More on that game as we go. Meantime, to the college game tonight, and Rex, again, sneaky Hembo wants you today.
Yeah, he does.
National championship games go back to 98. Which team has the record for most points scored in any of them?
Yeah, man, I mean, this is like impossible. But the obvious thing is to choose Alabama. Why? Because they won so many of them, right? And then he knows I've got Clemson roots, so he might say Clemson. No, I'm going to say Ohio State, and I have no idea why, but I'm going to stay them.
Well, you thought the right way. You thought of going away from the teams you thought he would make it, but it's actually USC. It was USC, scored 55 points in the 2005 Orange Bowl. Hembo feels pretty good. I will say this, that was a tough one to hang on Rex today. But it's appropriate because tonight is the game. Nothing new for Bama and the Buckeyes as they go head-to-head tonight, considering no two schools have appeared in the national title game more often in this era. Nick Saban seeking a record-breaking 7th national championship, while Ryan Day can become the 7th coach to win a title in his first 2 full seasons. So the coaching matchup, the pedigree of the programs, outstanding, and so are the quarterbacks. Mac Jones and Justin Fields making this the first ever title game between starting quarterbacks who rank top 2 in the country in total QBR. The scene could not be set in a more perfect way or in a beautiful spot as you take a look at Miami, which is the site of tonight's game, Alabama, Ohio State. We've got it covered from every possible direction for you here all day on ESPN, starting right now with that man, David Pollack. Thank you for getting up with us. And so let's look ahead. David, what matchup are you most looking forward to tonight?
I can't wait to watch how the Buckeyes defend the Heisman Trophy winner, Devontae Smith. I mean, it's been fun to watch over the year. Everybody takes a different approach, and everybody fails. So, you got the best playmaker in college football, a guy that can catch it short, a guy that can catch it long, runs great routes. It's kind of stinks, Greeny. I'm a defensive guy, and I love to be able to draw up matchups to have success, but you want to take away the RPO game, you play man coverage and stay inside of him, and then they throw it over your head. So you can't win. It stinks, but how they play Devontae Smith will be the first thing I'm looking for in the game.
Yeah, some people call Ohio State DBU because they have so many great backs there. We'll see if anyone can slow him down. Okay, let's simplify this as much as we can. Just finish the following sentence. Ohio State will win the game tonight if
they dominate the trenches. And that sounds very normal. Whoever wins the line of scrimmage wins. But if you watch the Clemson game in the semifinal, that's why Ohio State's here. Their defensive line owned Trevor Lawrence. 18 pressures. 7 different guys had those pressures. I mean, coming from all over the place, Tyreek Smith going to have to play big. He's looked the part the last couple years. Coming into his own, going to have to play enormous. But when I look at this Buckeye defensive line, they can get to Mac Jones, make Mac Jones move off of his spot. And by the way, the other side of the football too, Wyatt Davis and company, that big old